So I came across this case yesterday and I decided to drown myself in the pool of it. And honestly, this one is dark, like properly dark. It is way deeper than I thought because this is one of those situations you find interesting. And by interesting, I don't mean in a good way. So you find it interesting and you go deeper into it. But the more deeper you go into it, the more questions you will have. And I don't mean in a fun mystery kind of way, but rather in a genuinely unsettling something is wrong kind of way. So this woman's name is Elisabeth-Jane Ross, known to her family as Lisa. She was a 38 years old Scottish woman from Edinburgh. And on the 26th of June, she flew into Greece for what is supposed to be a normal trip. She was visiting a friend staying in Piraeus. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right or properly. It is an area just outside Athens. Now, everything seems pretty normal so far, right? She stayed with her friends in Piraeus until the 10th of July. Then she told them she was heading to a neighborhood in Athens called Kypseli to meet some American friends she knew there. And then Lisa just vanished. No contact, nothing, which is very alarming. And as I dig into this, I'm really hoping it is not a Tinder situation where she had a misfortune of meeting a serial killer as a date, or perhaps her friends she went to meet were just pretending to be, friends. Now, here is the information that actually almost took out my soul and shook me to the core. On the 18th of July, a homeless man was going through a derelict abandoned building in the Kypseli area of Athens. And he found a suitcase. Inside that suitcase was Lisa. She is believed to have died between 5 and 7 days, so almost a week before she was even found. Meaning she had been in that suitcase in an abandoned building for up to a week before anyone even discovered her. And here is the thing that actually makes this even a lot more disturbing. During those same days that Lisa was already dead, someone was using her phone, sending messages, pretending to be her, actively trying to throw off anyone who might be looking for her. So, if I am gonna take a wild guess, I am guessing this person is someone Lisa knows, at least on a very close level. So really, it could be our American friends that did it, which is very terrifying and gruesome, but that is just a wild guess. The Guardian's Athens correspondent described it as someone who had, and I'm quoting this directly, control, and used that word very deliberately over her mobile phone after she died, and was sending messages clearly to distract from the scent. So whoever did this wasn't panicking. They were calculated and clearly were buying time. They know what the fuck they were doing. However, just like many crime articles I have read in the past, this method never really works, and they would always get caught so early because our close ones can smell it out as they know how she types and shit like that. So that is how I know it never really works. But hey, I am not giving out any information or anything like that. It is just pure observation from, experience. Now, them identifying Lisa wasn't straightforward either. The Greek police had to work with Interpol and contact authorities in the United States because Lisa had worked in America, and at some point in the past, she had her fingerprint data on file. That is how they were able to even confirm who she was in the first place. Just so you know, our family in Scotland had no idea any of this has actually happened. Police in Scotland had to go and inform them. And I genuinely cannot imagine what that conversation was like. Extremely awful news. Can't imagine getting a call that tells me my child is dead. And worst of all, was found in a suitcase and had been rotten for 7 days. Just so sad, man. So right now, I'm guessing you might be asking, who did this awful and atrocious deed? Well, the Greek police analyzed CCTV footage from the area and they were able to find a 26-year-old man connected to the case. He was brought in for questioning and he confessed.
We know that Greek police have arrested a 26-year-old man from Afghanistan in connection with the death of a 38-year-old British woman in Athens. Elisabeth-Jane Ross's body was found inside a suitcase in the Greek capital 2 weeks ago.
He admitted to transporting Lisa's body in the suitcase to the abandoned building where she was found. He had also been using a bank card to withdraw money for several days after her death. What is really to do with killers and stealing, bro? Like, it is literally a thirst they can't quench, and that always get them caught every single time. Well, we should be happy for their stupidity in that case, I imagine. When police searched his home, they found a replica pistol and a knife. He was arrested on suspicion of manslaughter, robbery, and weapon offenses. And here is where I have to come clean with you guys. Manslaughter? Really? Not murder. Manslaughter. Craziness. Which means, as of the information that is currently available, the official position is that this wasn't necessarily premeditated. Because normally, if the police have a reason to believe a killing wasn't planned, or you basically go outright to kill someone, right, you get hit with manslaughter. But, and I really need you to pay attention to this important bit, this maniac put a woman's body in a suitcase, carried it to an abandoned building, used her bank cards, sent messages from her home for days to make people think she was still alive. That is not a panicked person who made a terrible mistake. That is someone who, in my opinion, clearly had a plan. But what do I know better? Perhaps they got into a heated argument and pushed her to the walls as they do in the movies. Then from that, she died, and bro was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and started panicking and got this perfect idea that, okay, I will just put her into one of my suitcases and steal her bank cards, drain her money, and take her phone and pretend to be her. And also, while I'm swinging by, I will just drop her body in the suitcase in some abandoned building. Sounds real for sure. But even then, a normal, sane person would have simply called 911 or 999 and gotten some help. But again, he clearly must have planned to murder this woman. So here is what we still don't know, and this is the part that genuinely bothers me. The cause of death, as of reporting I could find, had not been formally established. No visible injuries were identified on Lisa's body, which is pretty strange, isn't it? The conditions of her remains made it extremely difficult for the coroner to determine exactly how and when she died. Police were fast-tracking toxicology reports, but those can take weeks, even months. So we don't actually know how Lisa died. We don't know the full story of what happened between the 10th of July when she left her friends to the 18th when she was found. No one even knows who her American friends in Kipsele were, or if she ever actually met them. We don't know the full picture of a connection to this man or whatever. There are obviously a lot of gaps here, and those gaps are also uncomfortable, but I will stay optimistic and I will keep you guys updated once more information surfaces up and I've been dug up on this case. So it is pretty new. Lisa Ross was 38 years old, stayed with her friends and made plans to meet more people she knew. She was just on a trip, and some evil, diabolical maniac decided he's going to put her in a suitcase, and he spent the whole week pretending she was still alive while her family had no idea where she was. It is just purely heartbreaking, which just begs the question, were her friends not looking for her after like a day or two that she left, or did she she's gonna stay for like a long time with the other friend? Anyways, the First Minister of Scotland called it an absolutely appalling case. That is probably one of the most accurate thing anyone could say about it. Oh well, I will leave it there. It is a very sad and still kind of unresolved. I'm not sure about the, sentencing of our suspected killer yet, but once more things come out on it, I will keep you guys updated and I will let you know. So, see you all.